Okay. We's live. Live. We're going to go live on Amazon. Once I get the stream data, there we go. Okay. So today, folks, we are going to be messing around, getting this thing set up for an upcoming review. And I'll wait for some of you to pop into the chat here. I'm doing a little bit of an earlier stream today because I have to pick my girls up at school later because my wife has braces and she's had them for like 2 years. It's taken forever to get these things off of her. And if she has to get like a simple tooth cleaning, this is awful. She has to go to the orthodontist first. They have to pull the wires out of her braces. And then she has to go get the teeth cleaning at the dentist's office. And then when she's done with that, she has to go back to the orthodontist and they got to put everything back on again every time she gets a tooth cleaning. So a simple tooth cleaning, which for me takes like, 45 minutes, for her it's all day. And I need braces too, but there's no way in heck I'm doing that. It just takes too long. So I have to get the kids actually, I have to pick up the kids at the time I typically do one of these streams. So we are going to be streaming now. And then I might be back later today because I am getting in the new ATEM Mini Extreme, which is now an 8-way HDMI production switcher. And it's amazing. I think it is. We'll find out. But the other two have been awesome. I looked at the regular ATEM Mini and the ATEM Mini Pro. This is the Extreme, which does everything the other two do, but some other things. So when we do the review, we're gonna cover the duration there. All right, some questions coming in. First of all, I want to say hello to some friends who are popping in here. So Romeric is here. First, as always, welcome. He said it's 4 p.m. in France, so he's getting me a little bit earlier than usual. Yeah, typically, like I said, I'm doing this about 4 or 5 hours later, so usually in your evening. So thanks for joining us. Jim Holloway is here. Cedar Lake is here. BB Garnett is here, wondering if this is monochrome or color. This is a monochrome printer, but there's a pretty competitive price on this one. So this is a laser printer. It's got the the scanning capacity. I don't think it faxes now, but they have a fax thing that works through their app. So it prints, scans, and copies. Black and white only, $179. So it's not that expensive. So we'll see how that goes. Chris Allegretta is here. Enjoyed the NFT video. Yeah, we posted that one last night. And that one was a lot of fun for me because I didn't know much about them before I started working on the topic. And I think there's a lot of potential. What's interesting is I've heard from people who said, oh, screw those developers, screw those app makers. Why should, anyone allow for any kind of royalty on a resell? But I think you can't, like in this century, you cannot think of things in absolute terms all the time anymore. So the reality right now is that if you buy a piece of digital media, you can't sell it to anybody. So if I buy a game on Steam, I can't sell it to Chris. They won't let you. But I think if there's a carrot and a stick here. So if the carrot to the developer is you could get a 5 or 10% royalty every time that license is sold in the future, that might encourage them to allow the resell, right? And it doesn't stipulate the price of what that digital asset would be, right? So I think there's going to be some potential there. You do have an issue related to scarcity and all that kind of stuff because, if a collector's market builds up around some old game, you certainly have the potential for the developer to release more digital copies or something, right? So there's going to be a lot to have to figure out, but I liked where it's going. Let's put it that way. Brandon Wallace is here. Good afternoon. B. Tabalba is here. Good morning to you. Adam Louse is here from Columbus, Ohio. Greg is in, 10 a.m. in Canada. It's 11 where I am right now. Actually, it's 11:11. Make a wish. That's my wife always says. 11:11, make a wish. Adam wants to know, am I going to make this? Actually, no, this is on loan. So I'm going to review this and then I send it back to them. So this is a review device. And I'm glad you also like the NFT video. Yeah, share it with your friends. Let's get some more viewership on it. It's good. It's running about in the middle of the pack on performance for viewers. But But I thought it would be good because, you know, a lot of this crypto stuff, and I don't want to denigrate anyone who's into crypto. I think there's a lot going on with crypto now that I think is actually very positive for everybody. But I didn't want to hype it up too much because there's a lot of hype around this. Oh my gosh, make all this money. You know, it is a fad and it's something that won't be a fad. It's going to be a long-standing part of our economy because it always starts off in some weird way and suddenly, you know, it becomes something. And Bitcoin, you know, you think, you know, what was this? Bitcoin, who, you know, I mean, like when we were looking at it 10 years ago, but now it's not just Tesla. There's some major corporations that are putting money into Bitcoin as a place to park their cash because there's such potential there. So, you know, just be careful with it. Don't put all your money into it, but, you know, if you got some money to play around with, do it. So here's the deal with these new HP printers. You see this thing up here? It says HP Plus. So there are 2 iterations now of how these printers are going to be sold from HP. And you're going to have HP Plus, and then you're going to have non-HP Plus, okay? So give me 1 second here. I'm just checking something real quick. I'm looking for an email that explains this in a better thing here. Where did she go? There she is. Okay. So this one with HP Plus is $179. So there's a subsidy here from the HP Plus. Now, here's the trade-off, okay? So with the HP Plus, you get a 2-year warranty on the printer, all right? And you get 6 months of free toner through that instant ink thing that they do. And then they give you a credit. You can save on the print plans if you do the HP Plus. So you pay more up front, but you get a longer warranty, you get 6 months of toner, and then you can get a better deal on the print plan. Now here's the thing with this. So if you opt into HP Plus, the printer has to remain connected to your network at all times, and you cannot use anyone else's toner cartridge. So you can send your complaints to them about that, okay? So HP Plus, even if you don't do the subscription to the toner, you do have to pay, or do have to have it connected all the time, and you have to use their cartridges. So that's the deal with HP Plus. Without HP Plus, you can use whatever you want on it. They don't want you to, but they're not going to restrict you from using a third-party cartridge. That's the trade-off. So you pay less up front, you get the warranty, but you got to use their expensive cartridges or subscribe to the toner service. Now, David's Devices is writing in on Amazon. And by the way, I'm just the messenger here on this, so you can raise your complaints with them. David's Devices in the Amazon chat says that he's an HP Instant Ink man and likes it. And I think on the inkjet side, there's significant value to Instant Ink because it is a lot cheaper per page. And you have some rollover and that sort of thing. On this side of things, it probably still is. And I guess it really depends on how they size their cartridges that they're selling at retail. And my guess is they're going to sell cartridges at retail that are not as value-packed as the subscription plan would be. So that's something to think about. But this will have a higher cost of subscription because you're going to be printing higher volumes with this, theoretically. So that's how that works. Got a few more folks popping in. We're going to unbox this in a minute. David's Devices, though, loves the HP Instant Ink, and I think it's a great option because you do save money, especially if you print a lot. And for me, it's tough because I don't print that often. So I print this stuff out every, maybe once or twice a day. That's it. So I don't do all that much, which is why a laser printer is a really good choice if you're an occasional printer. The reason why laser printers are great for occasional printers like me is that they don't clog up. You don't have any clogs. It is great. So that's a good thing. The other thing that I like about the laser printers is that they're faster. And they're usually ready to go on whenever you're going. Now, here's the kicker. So I use right now, not an HP, it's not a sponsored thing from HP, by the way. The printer that I use day to day is a Lexmark that I got years ago. I got it 8 years ago through the Amazon Vine program free of charge, okay? I reviewed the printer back in 2014, so maybe 7 years ago. I reviewed the printer back in 2014. The toner cartridge that the printer came with, I just replaced about 3 months ago, just to give you an idea as to how long the toner lasts in that printer. Now, the toner is a lot. It's like $200, but it lasts forever. And so that's why I'm going to have to, before I do the review, I'm going to run the math on this because I want to see what the value proposition of a subscription plan on a laser printer is versus the subscription plan you might get on the inkjets, because the inkjets, the subscription is a great deal. I gotta dig a little deeper into what they're charging and how this HP Plus works and all that kind of stuff. So we'll figure all that out. So we have a few other folks popping in here. Dave Ramrup is here. Amateur Wizard happens to be in the market, seeing as there's nothing tech-wise I can get my hands on. Time to upgrade everything else. So this is back on the crypto thing. With the royalty from the sale, so I don't know, this is a good question from BB Garnett. I don't know how the royalty works. My assumption is that it would come out of the sale price. So you would maybe want to mark up, whatever you were hoping to get on an auction or something, you might want to mark it up 10% or something. But you're right, it will drive the cost up for everybody else. No question about it. Here's a great explanation from Chris on crypto. It's just like Linux. People think it's for freaks and criminals, and in a decade or two, it's running the world. And I think it's exactly it. Jury's out on NFTs. I think right now, in the current iteration of how the NFTs work, it's very inefficient. So I think that what you're going to see now is a lot of these emerging crypto platforms that have a contract component to them, they're going to be moving very quickly to try to make that the minting and the transactions faster and cheaper to do. And a friend of mine's really into Cardano, and he was telling me that that's like an area that they're focusing on, is faster transactions, maybe larger block sizes and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's the big problem, is that none of these crypto platforms, I think, could handle the volume of being a major currency. And just you look at the transaction volume in dollars every day, right? I mean, it's ridiculously enormous. And you have to have a blockchain that can keep up with that and be able to process those transactions quickly. So that's the big thing. Dave has the same printer. I'm sorry, Dava. This is the problem with my eyes. I'm sorry for getting your name wrong. Dava, not Dave. Looks like you got like one of those Among Us characters. My daughter and I love that game. Chris says that they shouldn't call it HP Plus because now people will think they'll get free TV shows out of it as well. Greg M, another good point on the subscription. So the cartridges stop working when your subscription ends. So that's another thing to keep in mind when you do the subscription plan. So if you decide to, so let's rewind here. So let's say you do HP Plus, you do the 6 months of toner, and then you get to the end of the 6 months and you're like, you know what, I'm not using it that much, I'll just buy the toner cartridges when I need them. If you have an HP subscription cartridge in the printer, it will not work when the subscription ends. It validates your subscription to the toner cartridge. So keep that in mind. That's a very good point. BB Garnett says that there is, I thought that they did have a free option. Didn't they do something free? Maybe they stopped doing that. I want to say that there's still a free option. Let me look at that real quick. Instant Ink free. Because I think they're still offering it to some degree. Maybe not. Maybe they stopped that. I think it was free and then it stopped being free. Hang on, let me get the definitive answer here. I'm just looking on my Mac here. Okay, so yes, that's correct. There is no more free. So the base plan is, and this is on the ink. This is not the toner. This is the ink plans. Okay, so the ink plan, you can do 99 cents a month for 15 pages. And they let you roll over pages, by the way, too. So this is the ink plans, okay? Toner plans are a bit different because of how the toner works and the volume that you're going to print. So you can see this does cost more, but you're printing more. So 6 of one, half dozen of the other. But I'll be honest with you, like I don't know if I could find, because look at the ink plan here. So $5 a month for 100 pages. Oh, it's actually less. All right, so you're paying $3.99 for the same printing that you. So you see, you pay basically $1 less per month if you're doing 100 pages a month. And this is probably what I would be doing. But you know, the real question is, what does the toner cartridge hold? And I think that's what we got to do some research on. Because this is where it gets a bit tricky, right? So if you're doing, you know, if the cartridge prints, so let's say you do 100 pages a month and the cartridge can do 1,500 pages, right? So you're looking at 15 months on a cartridge if you're only doing 100 pages a month. Because again, you don't waste a lot of toner on these things as far as cleaning and all that stuff is concerned. So 15 times 4, you could spend about $60 on instant toner versus, yeah, you know what, it probably, because you'd probably spend about $80 on an official HP cartridge, but you'd spend less on an unofficial one. So that's kind of the trade-off there. Sally on the Amazon chat went pre-built to update the PC. AMD 5900X, 32 gigabytes. NVIDIA, ooh, that's a nice system you got there. Sally also loves the HP inkjet since you get a new print head with every cartridge. That is a good point on the ink side for sure. These, I don't think you replace the whole, we'll look when we pull the cartridge out. In the past on the HP printers, you would replace, the cartridge was the drum, the toner, and the developing unit, but not the fixer that heats the toner up at the end. So most of the mechanism is replaced with each cartridge pull. So that is the trade-off there. All right, let's unbox this sucker because we've got a lot of people watching. And Greg M. So this is where Greg M. You would not want the HP Plus because he buys third-party toner carts. So if you're buying the third party, if you stick that third party in here with the HP Plus, it's not going to work. So you got to go with the non-HP Plus. So you'll spend a little bit more up front, but less in the end. So we're going to unbox this and get moving. And I think I might shoot a video on how to set these up. They've actually simplified the setup process pretty significantly. You just use your phone now, and I think that makes life a lot easier. So let's get this thing open. And there's probably a return label in here I got to be on the lookout for. All right, so we've got our reference guide here. We don't need this, right, folks? So I think, and it gives you a kind of a rundown of what the colors mean on the printer there. And we got a power cable. And I got to keep all this stuff together because I've got to send this thing back when we're done with it. All right, so I'm going to put this on the floor because I don't have a lot of room here to get the rest of it up. So give me a second. It will reappear once I get everything unboxed here. So let's put this down over here. Here, I'll give you another view. Oop, a little slippery. All right, so we're going to pull this thing out. Oh, it's going to be one of those things. Well, the good news is that your printer will likely come undamaged because it is in here pretty good. It's not all that heavy, so that's a good thing. I got a feeling that the printer has the toner already installed. So we'll take a look at that in a second here. So let's get this on the desk here. Like I said, I want to keep all this stuff together because this is going to go back to HP when we're done reviewing it. And then you got to pull out all of the orange tape, all of it. It's all got to go. And you're always going to find more orange tape everywhere. All right, so we got that going. And then we've got a little paper tray here. So it's pretty compact for a laser printer. You know, a lot of times these things are pretty big. Now granted, this is just a monochrome printer. So it's not going to take up as much room because usually when you've got a color printer, you have to have a cartridge for every color. So you've got like this row of toner that has to go through there. So that uses up a little bit more. Got some more questions coming. Hopefully, Spike Blighty, hopefully I answered your question a few minutes ago when we put that web page up on screen there. So let me know if I handled that question for you there. Frosty Winnipeg is here from Manitoba. Ken Driggers, good point here too. Used to repair HP network printers. Third-party carts are not worth it. They were 75% of my calls. And that's the problem, right? Because and you know what it is? It's from what I understand, and Ken Driggers can correct me if I am not correct, but I think the toner composition, you know, the micron size of the toner particles has an impact. So if you have a third-party cartridge and the toner is not the same microns, you know, the same size as what HP uses, the grains of toner, if they're not the same size, you can run into trouble with that. So that could be part of the problem, and that toner will collect and get gunked up and everything. So you got to be really careful. And it was a bigger deal when, and this still is, I think, in the enterprise world. You know, if you're spending $180 on a printer, okay, big deal, right? You get a couple of years out of it. The toner clogs it up eventually with the fake toner, and you get another one. But I think if you're working on a big, you know, $20,000 production system, you know, that's lost assets there. All right, so let's get the rest of this thing figured out. Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, so the cartridge is already installed in here. It's buried deep in the cavity. Yeah, I wonder if there's a larger capacity cartridge, because it's way the heck in there. Look how far it is in there. Here, I'll give you a little tilt here. See how far down it goes? So the cartridge is in here. That's how far down your arm goes. And let me see if the cartridge needs any kind of, no, we're good. You don't want to point the bottom at lights, by the way, because it is a little photosensitive. But there doesn't feel like there's a lot of toner in this cartridge. In fact, here, I'll turn the overhead on real quick here. They call this the introductory cartridge. And so the cartridge that it uses is the W1340A. So let's look that up in a second here. Let me do the overhead also so you can get a feel for that cartridge number. Let me zoom out a little bit here. We may have a lot of streams this week, by the way, because I've got a lot of stuff that just came in. So that's the cartridge, the M134A. And then replaces with the W1340A. All right, so let's look up what that cartridge costs. And then we can figure out whether or not the subscription makes sense. All right, put the box over there. And we'll go from there. Okay, so Gerardo wants to know how much does the ink cost? We're going to find out. Now this, of course, uses toner because it is a LaserJet, a laser printer. And I'm trying to figure out where this thing goes. I'm guessing in the back. Let's see, put it back together here. So this pops out like that. So where does this thing go? This is like for, oh, this is for the paper. Oh my goodness. So it's compact, but you got to have room for the lip here. And then if you want to stow it, you can stow it like that. But then you've got this thing hanging around. So be advised. And it doesn't look like you're going to get a, yeah, so there is a rear on this thing, obviously. But this is just like the unclogging area. So there's not like a separate manual feeder. But you do get a Kensington lock. So that's kind of nice. And then you've got a flatbed, but not a sheet fed scanner on the top. And I often prefer to have a sheet feeder up here because I like to scan a lot of documents. So this is going to be more one-off kind of scanning. Kind of reminds me actually of the copy machine my father had in the office years ago. It's a little copy machine. I used to make a lot of copies on it because it was fun to just go and make copies. I used to go up to his office on the weekend when he was working, and I would just mess around with all this stuff. Okay, so next step. is we're going to look at the cost of toner if you were to buy that toner yourself. And I'm going to boost my light up here a little bit too. A little bit more light. There we go. That looks nice. Okay. Casts a little shadow here, doesn't it? Because it's light's coming down from above. Okay. So now, let's look at the price of this toner, which again is the M234dwe. 1340A. And it does not look like, yeah, there's a bunch of like fake ones on here. And so, by the way, like as I'm browsing through all these things here, you will find a lot of generic toner, although I don't think all of these are the right ones. But again, if you buy the printer with HP Plus, it's not going to work. It's a requirement that you use their toner. All right, let me see if I can find a price on this thing, because it's not on Amazon at the moment. Okay, let's see. Huh, you know what? 1340A. Let me try to look up a 134A and see if that... Okay, here you go. Here you go. Okay, so this is the official HP cartridge. This is actually not that bad, all things considered. And now we can do a little math on this. Okay, so the HP 134A is rated for 1,100 pages. Now, note that this is approximately, because when a printer manufacturer, when they calculate how many pages you get, it's based on coverage. So the coverage that they're thinking about is something like a printed document like this. So I got a lot of words on the page here, but it's not a lot of toner coverage. If I'm printing a lot of graphics and a lot of other things, that's going to eat into that 1,100. So, and this is where I think the instant ink on the inkjet makes a lot of sense. Because if you're printing out photos and a lot of ink-heavy documents, you're getting a lot more value out of that instant ink. The same could be said of this, but I don't think you're going to be printing as many photographs on a laser printer. I mean, typically, if you're buying a black and white laser printer, you're doing invoices and other stuff that kind of falls into that 1,100-page yield. Okay, so now we have kind of a comparative here. So, $45 for 1,100 pages, okay? And if we look back at the instant toner price here, and I think you get a discount if you have HP Plus on your printer, which I'm sure we'll figure out when we get through a little bit more of this. Let's say you were doing 400 pages a month, all right? So here, I'll pull up a little app I use here called Solver. Let me just clear out some stuff here. Okay, so if we have, so why is this working here? New sheet. Oh, my trial's over. Never mind. Okay, so let's just try to do it this way. So 400. So if we did 3 months, is about the same. So if you did 400 pages a month, it's about what you would get out of one toner cartridge that you bought outright. Okay, so $13.99 times 3 is basically $42 versus $45. So it's not as good of a deal as their ink deal is, right? So, you know, where it gets better is if you're doing high volume. If you're doing 1,500 pages a month, it's a no-brainer. It's half the price. So you have to kind of vary it based on that. I would say, because this is a laser printer, I need to write this down. Give me a second here, folks. I would say that because this is a laser printer, that you might really want to think about this subscription a little bit more carefully than I would think about it on an inkjet printer. Because these printers are, a little more efficient M234dwe. These printers are a little bit more efficient, the laser printers are, than the inkjets are. Primarily because they don't waste ink cleaning themselves out, right? So that's a big factor. All right, so ink cartridge or toner cartridge on Amazon is $45.19. And you get about 1,100 pages with that. And you can often squeeze a little bit more out of it. Ken Driggers will not like to hear this because he repaired these things, but I was one of those people that would shake the toner cartridge to get a few more pages out of it. I'm not sure if that's healthy or not. All right, we got more questions here. Win32 says that, yeah, so if you don't want the internet connection, or if you don't want to have your printer connected, then don't get the HP Plus version. So they do sell one that doesn't require the internet connection, but it costs more. Greg M says, repacking, it's easy peasy. Yeah, right. Never. But the good thing is now I have a record of when I took it out of the box with these live streams, so I know kind of how it was packed in. So we'll see where it goes. Ken says it is a tiny cartridge. I wonder if they have a high capacity version. All right, so now, and I'm going to do the getting started thing. It looks like, so this has two connectivity options, by the way, also. So you can connect it to Wi-Fi, which is what we're going to do for this video, just to show people how to do it. But you also have Ethernet on the back here. And there is a USB port that is blocked, although I suspect if you plug this in, it would work. However, actually maybe not, because remember, this one is requiring the internet connection, so they're probably going to want to force you onto a network connection. So that's why they're covering up this USB port. Sally wants to know, are we going to look at the HP software? Yeah, I think we're going to do a video setting up the printer, so we'll definitely take a look at that. Let's take a few other questions here. Spike Blighty says the footprint on my desk looks a little odd. Yeah, I've got one of these really small IKEA tables that I use for this show. I think at some point I'm going to have to do an upgrade of everything. Yeah, so there's a lot of math that you got to do on this thing. So figure it out. Melly Merck wants to know, how do I print? On this one or just in general? We'll find out on this one. What I do is I have a Lexmark printer that I use because I've had it for years, and it's really good. And Ken says it is bad to shake the toner cartridge. But it's also job security for the people that have to fix them, so there's probably a benefit there. Kajoli wants to know how my brother is liking Starlink. He loves it. In fact, I hear from him now all the time, because I could never talk to him before because he had no connectivity up there. And now he doesn't stop calling. It's great. It's good to hear from my brother more often. BB Garnett, this might be a question for some folks in the chat. Is there a printer that could be powered over Ethernet? I guess it's possible. Although they do, like the big power draw on these is the heating element that basically binds the toner to the page. So I would say you probably would see an inkjet be Ethernet powered before you'd see a printer. But the power spikes that these things take are pretty significant. Oh, I see. So more the paper feed design here is what Spikey's talking about. Yeah, it is a bit awkward. So what it is they try, they want to hit a form factor so they can get it compact enough. And I think and this is why, like, if you're an occasional printer, this is kind of a nice thing. You can just flap this thing up like that. But yeah, I think we're gonna have to do some more explaining on the toner stuff, because I'm not sure instant ink or instant toner in this case makes as much sense as the instant ink does. I think instant ink, again, is a really good value, but on the toner side is tough. And what I don't use is, I use their software on the app, but I don't install it on my computers. So I just kind of do the standard printer connection, and I try not to install the big software suite. So we're going to try to avoid doing that. And you know, it's funny, I want to pull up Randall's comment here, because I've been reviewing printers now for a long time. And what's funny is that, so the ones that I typically look at are HP, Epson, and Brother. Those are the three big ones, I think, that you'll find in a store. And to Randall's point here, what's funny is that no matter what brand it is, if someone's had a bad experience with one of these things, they will never buy one again. And it doesn't matter if it's HP or Brother or anything else. It's like, and I'll see these in the comments, like, I had that Epson, that thing was a piece of junk, I'll never buy one again. And they never come back. It's amazing. But it's every brand has many people who feel that way. So it's a matter of what your personal experiences are, I think, over time. And it's a difficult business because, you know, they're trying to hit a price point. You know, it used to be, I remember I had like and Ken Driggers probably remembers this printer, I had the legendary HP LaserJet 4. That thing was a tank. I loved that printer. This is back in my family business days, we got so many, like I think years, I mean, would be an understatement out of that printer. It's amazing. But it was expensive because you paid for the printer, you know? You paid for the printer and you paid for the software, so all of that. All right, so we're gonna plug in the printer. Let me find the power cord. And we're gonna get this sucker booted up. Where did I put the power cord? The good news is I've got power cords up the wazoo already plugged in, so we're just gonna plug this one in. Okay. So we're going to let the printer boot up. I guess I got to get some paper too, so let me go get some paper. And my Lexmark printer holds like 2 reams of paper, so I never have to change toner on this thing, nor do I ever actually take paper out of it. All right. Some paper in there. All right. Oh, it's already taking paper. It's like, it took a piece of paper and kind of mangled it. Now that sound is loading up its toner. It's got like a little toner repository in there. So what it does is it runs that to get the toner kind of primed. So that's what you're hearing going on right now. Okay, so we have purple, which means that it's in wireless setup mode. And we will figure that out. Okay. So now we're going to go, I got to go update my HP Smart app here, because I haven't used it in a while. And we'll let that boot up, and I probably have to update the app also. So let me do that real quick. Okay, let's go update real quick. So Ken enjoyed the 5L. The HP 5L was his favorite. And I forgot the other printer brand that I've looked at has been Canon's, which unfortunately, Ongla, I do not know how to fix that error. So you may have to contact tech support on that one, unless somebody knows what's going on. Yeah, I think too, Randall, on the Brothers, they tend to, so it's been interesting to see how every manufacturer has approached the toner thing. And I've done a few videos on this. So Brothers' approach has been sell you a printer with a ton of toner and ink so that you won't have to replace any of that in the first couple of years of ownership. And in your case, it might be a really long time. And that's been kind of the approach that they've taken. However, when you have to buy those cartridges, they cost a little bit more. You know what I mean? It's always about subsidizing the cost, because there's no way this costs them $180 to make. I think it probably costs them more than that. So everyone does kind of like their own thing. HP's approach has been to really focus on the subscription model. So they're giving you, smaller capacity cartridges, but trying to push you into the subscription thing. Epson doesn't make laser printers, but they've been doing these big ink tank printers where all you have to do is buy bottles of ink and pour them in. That's another approach. HP has an ink tank also. And I think Canon now is doing that too. So there's all these different approaches that they've taken. And I did a video on this, so check it out. Matash, I do not know what the cost is in India. It's 180 US dollars, and I would imagine it would be a similar price here, there, similar value if you did the currency conversion. And this is exactly, Randall, why I use lasers also, because I just don't print that often. So if you don't print often, lasers are the way to go. And I think the one mitigating factor, though, in saying that is that's one of the advantages of the HP subscription, because you're not penalized for cleaning out your ink cartridge. But the one issue you might run into is that you might get penalized if you print out a page and it doesn't look right and you have to run the cleaning process. You're going to get dinged for that page. So I've never had to really work on fighting HP as to what is a chargeable page versus not. And I'd love to hear people's experiences with that, because sometimes you go and print and it's all messed up and you're going to get hit with the page reduction there. So that is something to think about. All right. Give me a second here, folks. Okay, so let me get the HP app going. And I think what we're going to do is I am going to connect my phone up with, yeah, okay. So I'm going to take this from the standpoint of how a user would approach this. So let me get my NDI broadcast going here. And then we're going to integrate the phone into the stream here. So we're going to start the broadcast. I'm going to grab an NDI feed from the phone. So got that. And now we're going to bring in my virtual set. And we got open. And just bear with me here, folks. I'm just trying to get all my ducks in a row here. Virtual sets, here we go. So we're going to do a phone. We'll do a phone, one up with background, and we'll do the other one too. So let's select that one. And bear with me, folks. Just got to do a couple more setup things here, and then we'll continue on the setup process. So the background will be this. And layer one will be the phone. All right, so we're good there. So now we've got my phone, which you'll be able to see here. So we got that. And then we're going to bring in another one, because I can also show the phone and the printer at the same time. So we're going to add another input and go to our virtual set. And we're going to browse and go to phone 2 up. Yeah, the one problem with my virtual sets here is that it doesn't retain the settings. So I have to kind of rejigger everything every time. Layer 2, oops, shoot, layer 2, and then we're going to go to camera 2. Okay, there we go. All right, so now, if you look at this, we've got both things up on screen. Isn't that cool? Okay. This is how I make my videos, right? And we just do it all in real time. We'll do it live! And then I can do this cool merge thing. Watch this, ready? boom, boom, and then I could do something like this. Woo! That's the power of vMix, which is why I love vMix so much. Okay. All right, so we're going to get to the setup process here. So I think what I'm going to do, oh, hang on one second. Okay, so we're going to get have somebody got a bunch of like little problems around the house, so our guy is here fixing all the little problems that we got. Okay. Clayman says, I think printer setup, this is a very true point here, has been the worst of any kind of hardware. I agree completely with this. It's very, very true. It's gotten better. I think, and what's funny is that for a while, you'd get these printers in, and then the instructions they gave you were actually not the best way to do it. So what I've been doing with these printers, especially the ones that have a large screen, is I've said to everybody, like, get the printer on the Wi-Fi and then just have your computers find it, because that's often the best way to make it all work. And this one does not have, you've got like a little on-screen display here, but it doesn't, oh, what did I do? I just printed something. Oh, a little, yes, it's telling me that I got to set up the printer here. Now here's, just to, give you some prep on this. Printer setup incomplete, which we're gonna get going. But remember, this printer requires the use of an HP account because you have HP Plus on it. So that's the requirement. You can buy this without, and you don't need that. But HP Plus is a requirement on this one. All right. So we will get this going. Okay. So we're going to do a little recording here because we're going to throw this on the extras channel. And we're going to do the setup and all that good stuff. So let's do a quick recording. Because I found that there's actually some search value to the setup process. And then I can refer people, because then it doesn't have to take up time in the full review, right? If I can do a little setup thing, we can do it in a separate video, and I can point to that. So that is how it goes. Here's a good, we don't think about Linux a lot when we do these because these videos are very much consumer focused, but I think this is a good point from KK Linux Rocks. HP and Epson printers, he says, work best with Linux, and many brother printers require an extra driver. It's a very good point. So, yeah, and by the way, if you don't want to connect the printer to the internet, then don't buy the HP Plus version. Get the regular. So they still sell one that works the way the other ones do, but this one is a different beast. So, all right, so let's do the intro, and then I got to get out of here in about a half an hour or so I can get lunch and then pick the kids up. Busy day today. Could pick the kids up from school. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and we're doing a quick video today on how to set up the HP, what is this one? This is the HP M234. I'm going to put that piece of paper out in front of me because they never come up with like a good, easy to remember name. They should give it like a name. Call it the whatever. because a few of their inkjet printers have a name, right? But this one doesn't. Mark Dell says, is it Taco Tuesday? No, we had Taco Tuesday on Saturday. So tonight we're going to be using the Instapot. We got some stuff we're going to throw in there. It's like, what do we got left? You know, it's funny. Last night, my wife and I were talking. We were both hungry. But, you know, we've been locked up in the house for like a year now. We were so hungry. And like I have a freezer full of, I kid you not, I got a freezer that you could fit like me in there. Like you could fit like 5 of me in there, right? And when she bought the freezer, I'm like, what are you doing with this huge freezer? Because, you know, but we have so much food like in there and we didn't want to eat any of it. We don't feel like making anything. It's just like, so we, I had like, we do like soup in the slow cooker and we eat it that night and then we freeze the rest for nights where we don't feel like cooking. So that's what I had last night. But tonight we've got a bunch of stuff that we found in the freezer last night that we're just going to throw into the Instapot. Like a potluck supper for real. Okay. Yeah, I think this is going to be a really interesting thought project here, which is trying to figure out the value of instant ink on the toner side, given the volume that you can print on a single cartridge from a laser printer like this. That's going to be a big part of my review, I think, is guiding customers through that. Okay, we're going to do this like really from scratch here. So I don't know what I'm going to encounter. I'm assuming it's going to be pretty easy, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so let's start this again. This is the M234dwe. 321. Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and we got in the HP M234dwe printer the other day for review from HP. This is on loan from HP, and I thought I would do a quick video on how to set the printer up and get it on your network, and this video will accompany the full review that I'll be doing in a few days. And before we jump into this setup, I do want to let you know, in the interest of full disclosure, that HP did provide this on loan. When we're done reviewing it, it goes back to them. All the opinions you're about to hear are my own. No one is paying for this review, nor has anyone reviewed or approved what you're about to see before it was uploaded. So let's get into it now and see how to get this printer set up. All right, so that's the intro, done. And we're going to go check my recording, make sure I'm okay with it, and then we'll try to figure out how to get this thing set up. And we're going to go to HP printer setup. And we'll go to clip 1 here. This is going to say intro. So I try to maximize my time, right? So if I'm live streaming, why not just record and have something I could put up as a video separately? And you know, like, you know who's like kind of an inspiration for that? You ever see that guy Kit Boga who like goes after the scammers overseas? So he does these long live streams, and then he takes the highlights and kind of puts it into a recorded video that goes on YouTube. So he does really well on his live streams, but he's also doing, you know, really well on other stuff. All right, got some folks from Amazon chatting here. Gerardo wanted to know how much the ink costs. I think we covered that already, about $42 a cartridge. Sally wants to know, will we be looking at HP's software suite? Yeah, we'll look at it as part of the app here. Nina, big fan of mine, thank you. Loves the Mister. I got to do more Mister stuff, so we will try to do some of that. David's Devices, this is in regards to the issue of bad page printouts. It says, I've been credited for pages that errored, no problem. I just messaged HP and they credited the amount. So you can get out of it. That's good. Okay. So we're going to take this from the top here. And I have a feeling we're going to have our HP account logged in. And Mark Dell's got to go to a meeting, unfortunately. All right, Mark, we'll see you in a little bit. It's always good to have you here. And Chris Allegretta, have I ever made you? I have not. I'm going to elevate you to moderator because you are a big fan and supporter of the channel here. And just in case you want to be a moderator, now you are. Okay. Whether you like it or not. All right. And I'm going to probably leave a pinned chat on the Google thing here, so the YouTube chat, so everybody can get the answer as they pop in. Honest Auntie L, this printer requires an online account and only genuine cartridges. Yes, so that's the HP Plus version. So if you if you opt for the non-HP Plus version, you can use it like a normal printer. But my guess is that the subsidy is the account, which would presumably get you to buy more stuff or whatever. So that is how that works. But if you do the non-HP, so let me make that a note in the chat here. Greg M says, "Got to teach Chris the secret handshake." This printer is the HP Plus version that requires an HP account and only works with HP carts. But I'm going to do this as a pin chat. But they sell a non-Plus version without those restrictions. Okay. All right, there we go. So I'm going to put that in the chat, and I'm going to pin that. So now it is in there all the time. And I think you probably all saw that before I said it, which is going to be kind of weird, right? Because there's a bit of a delay, right? Okay. So now we've got that pinned, and we're going to take it from the top here. So let's do this. I'm going to do one of my little merge things here. We're going to go like, whoosh, and that's going to be fun. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Actually, let me move this paper out of the way. Okay. 3, 2, 1. All right, so I have the printer unboxed and plugged in. I did put some paper in here, and we'll have a full review of this, so we'll go over all of its features. Now, you do have to turn the printer on. It doesn't turn on by itself when you plug it in. And what you want to look for is a purple light here, which will indicate that the printer is getting ready to be set up. Now, we have the HP Plus version of this printer, and this requires that you have your printer on the internet at all times. There's a non-Plus version of this, same printer that costs a little bit more that does not have that requirement. So we might have to jump through a few extra hoops here during the setup process. Now, the best way to set these printers up, irrespective of whether or not you've got the Plus or the regular one, is to use their mobile app, the HP Smart app. This is available on the iPhone and on Android phones, and it's really the easiest way to get everything up and running. I do believe the non-Plus version of the printer will allow you to connect it up via USB, which might be easier to some folks, but honestly, get the thing on your network and all of your devices will end up seeing it. Now, I'm going in blind here. I haven't set up my account. I do have an HP account, but I'm not logged in, and I just want to see what happens here when I go to set up a new printer. So I'm going to tap on that. And what should happen here is the phone will communicate via Bluetooth to the printer, which it did find. And so we've got an M234 LaserJet here. I'm going to tap on that. And now it's wondering where I am. So I'm going to, I guess I'll allow it just while I'm using the app here. And it's trying to figure out my location, all that good stuff. And what it's doing now is going through some processing. We'll wait on that for a second. And now it wants the password to my Wi-Fi connection, which I'm going to type in now, and we'll see what happens after I enter that in. So it's using the phone's connection to figure out what Wi-Fi network it needs to go on. Okay. We'll have some work for Jake to do, blurring out my address again. Okay, so now I'm going to type in my password for my Wi-Fi. Okay, so now we're on the screen here. You know what's neat is the iPhone, when you're sharing your screen, it automatically blurs out the password even when you have the little dots on. Isn't that cool? Okay, so now we're going to go, let me just make sure that I've got, I always hate ending on jump cuts. Go, we're not on jump cut. Okay. So we will go 3, 2, 1. All right, so I've got my Wi-Fi password typed in. We're going to click on continue. And now it is going through the process of getting things set up. Now it wants me to press the flashing information button on the top of the printer to confirm proximity. This is a security thing. So you can see, it may be hard to see, but there's a blinking button on the top of the printer. I'm going to click the I button there. And now the printer is going to join my network. And we'll let that thing do its thing. And we'll wait for that to happen. And once it's all on the network, we'll continue on from there. All right, just to prevent some of the dead air in the video. All right, 3. Yeah, the extras channel is getting a lot of content this week. This is setup part 2. Now I wonder, oh, it's going, okay. It looks like it supports 5 gigahertz networks because that's what this is connecting to right now, so that's a good thing. And it's finishing the connection. Okay. 3, 2, 1. All right, so the printer is now on the network, and you can see that the light here changed to blue, and actually now my Windows computer that's driving the stream just detected the printer on the network. We don't want that on that computer right now, but Windows 10 apparently, if any computer running in the house, will now have seen that printer, so it looks like it's definitely on the network. So we're going to click Continue here, and now I think we can kind of get into the nuts and bolts of the printer. It's pretty much on our network. So I'm going to wait for further instructions here on the app, and then we'll go from here to setting up my Windows laptop with the printer, and we'll also do the same on my Mac. So let's let this finish up here, get its information, and we'll come back when we've got the next step. Yeah, so as I was talking, it just popped up a thing. It said, hey, we got a new printer on the network. And it used to be something where you put the printer on the network and then you would have to go to the printer thing to find it. But now, like, Windows just puts a picture of it up on screen, like, hey, I found this printer, you want to connect to it? Like, not a good time for streaming here. So let me just go and add this to the thing. The Mac still requires you to go into your printer settings, which I think is the better process. But I gather that, out of all the video content that I do, as far as long-term value to the content, printer reviews do the best. I mean, by far, both for affiliate links, viewership, search results, all of that. They are not the most fun product to review because there's not a lot of gee whiz to it. But it, and by the way, it's doing a, welcome to This Week in Firmware Updates. Yeah, so the printer is going to be going through a lengthy update process here. But I think consumers struggle with printers the most, as was noted here. AIF about the Flowbee. Yeah, here's what happened with the Flowbee, everybody. Here's what happened with the Flowbee. My daughter's preschool classmate, his mom, she started a new business in the midst of this pandemic where she comes to your house and cuts your hair. And so I was like, you know what, we're just going to go with that. At some point, you know what I might do? I'll call her because I'm going to be due probably in like another 2 or 3 weeks because my hair is getting puffy again. I may call her and have her on standby, and maybe we'll have her here when I do the Flowbee. Maybe we'll try that because I did buy the Flowbee. So Honest Aunt L makes a good point here that they're kind of mimicking their enterprise agreements. Yeah, I think there's some truth to that. Because when I was in the business world, we would do these basically maintenance and supply contracts where we would agree to a certain page count, and that would include all the repair and all the toner and all the supplies, and the guys would just drop it off. They'd monitor the usage and drop the stuff off. Some good points here from Tomas. So he understands why they require the connection. Yep, there's always a trade-off, right? There's subsidies. You got to subsidize different parts of the business relationship here. It is a heavy hand, I would agree. But at the same time, you can buy it, for an extra 30 or 40 bucks, you get it without the HP Plus. So, but you're right, it is kind of mirroring to what Honest Aunt DL mentioned, is that it is kind of a maintenance, a service and supply contract because you're getting 2 years of warranty, which will repair any problems that you have. And then if you subscribe to the toner, you get that too. And Chris Allegretta makes a very good point also. It is a mess. But you know what's nice, though? Here's what I would say, is that for a while, when you bought one of these printers, like everyone had the same business model. You buy this cheap printer with expensive toner. Now, back in my day, it was an expensive printer and expensive toner. They were making a lot more money back then, right? And so now every company is approaching this differently, which I think is great because for consumers, now you've got some choices. You could buy the big, huge tank printer from Epson, and they charge you the price of that printer up front. Like you're paying, a lot more for the printer you would normally pay $80 for, right? You could do that. You could do the brother method, which is we'll sell you a bunch of toner at the outset, but then charge you regular prices for toner moving forward. So you have that as an option. HP's like, hey, we'll give you a contract with a subscription and get you the ink that way. So there's some choices out there. They may not all be good ones. Like I said, you could also do what I did with my Lexmark printer, which is that you buy the printer and then you replace the toner every 5 years. At least that's what I did with mine. So that's that there. This is a good question. I'm going to have to follow up with the live team about this. I don't think Amazon streaming works anywhere else other than Amazon Shopping right now. That's the website and the app. I don't think it's on any other platforms, but they should put it on. That'd be a great app, I think. People could sit and buy stuff right on their TV. So that might be kind of fun. Honest Auntie L wants to know, how am I doing the lower thirds? I am using vMix, which is my production software, and you're in luck because I just did a whole video on how I use vMix. You can check it out. It's a great, I love it. I love vMix. And they just came out with a new version, which I have to upgrade to, which is free as part of what I paid for about a year or two ago. So we'll be doing an upgrade on that shortly. Okay. Printer update is complete. So let's continue on. Journeying into the big unknown here because I don't know what's going to happen next. 3, 2, 1. All right, so now we had a couple of firmware updates happen, but now it looks like we can continue the app setup portion of the printer. But again, it looks like my Windows computer has already found it on the network, but we'll get to those in a second here. And now it's getting more information. And we might do a little jump cut here to jump ahead to the next step. I'm just going to let it roll here. I need a song I can play when things are kind of delayed like this. Let's see. Yeah, this part is not so fun, like waiting for the thing to tell you something. Okay. Here comes the upsell. All right. In order to deliver printing and cloud services, technical data is collected from your printers that you choose to pair with your app or HP account if you have one. Okay. 3, 2, 1. All right, we're back here, and now it's asking me about connected printing services. So I'm going to click Continue here and see what it wants from me. We've got the HP Plus introduction, and I'm going to click Continue. Now, the HP Plus will give me an additional year of a warranty. So instead of a 1-year warranty, this has a 2-year warranty. I'm going to get 6 months of their toner subscription plan as part of the deal. And then there's some sustainable stuff here that they're offering as part of this. So I'm going to click Continue because I don't really have much of a choice because I bought the HP Plus printer. And in order for the printer to operate here, and I'll pull this up front and center so we can get a better view of what we're reading here, I have to sign into or create an HP account. I have an HP account already. The printer has to be connected to the internet at all times for this HP Plus. And I need to use only original HP toner or enroll in the subscription plan. So if you don't buy the HP Plus version, it doesn't have to be on the internet. It doesn't need to use HP toner. But if you have this version with HP Plus, this is the requirements here that you are going to agree to. So we're going to have to confirm that because we have no choice. This is a HP Plus printer. And now I've got to sign into my HP Plus account. So let me do that, or my HP account, I should say. Let me do that, and we'll come back and see what happens next. Now, if you don't have an HP account at this point, you'll have to create one. But again, I've already got one, so we're going to continue on from there. All right, this setup is getting a little bit long, isn't it? This is it's when they hit you with the data collection. All right, so setup part 5. And this was part 4. Okay. So I'm going to go continue and just sign into my HP account. I have an HP account already. So let me get my LastPass going here. I love LastPass. That's my password manager. Okay. They're thanking me for my patience. Transferring information. Protecting. Okay, that's protected. There we go. Okay. So we've got that going. Okay. So let's pick it up from here. 3, 2, 1. Hang on, I'm reading. Let me read here. Your HP Smart account helps you manage your services and connected printers. Personal information you provided, information collected from any printers you choose will be used to build your account and provide basic services. Okay. So let's begin. Now, here, I'm going to show you how naive I am. I have never heard of Bitwarden before, but I will look into it because now I've got 2 people telling me LastPass is terrible. All right, I'm going to check out Bitwarden. I will check it out. Can I convert from LastPass to Bitwarden because I've got like a lot of stuff in LastPass. My cat food says, I am jealous of all the tech stuff you get to play with. Be careful what you wish for. That's all I'll say. I enjoy what I do. I immensely enjoy what I do. Because this was stuff I would do on in my spare time before. So there you go. All right. So I will investigate Bitwarden. Is it free or I got to pay for it? Let me ask you that. Wow, everybody loves Bitwarden. Why have I never heard of this before? Okay. Does Bitwarden... Okay, let me ask you this, everybody. Does Bitwarden work with... What time is it? Okay. Does Bitwarden work with the iPhone? Can it fill in my passwords automatically on the iPhone? That's what I want to know. All right. Let's continue. We got to get back to work here, everybody. Okay. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we logged into the HP account, and now we're getting the most out of our account, and we've got some stuff that we have to agree to here. We're going to click Continue. And what's next? And now it's registering my printer with HP. And this is actually their printer, so I guess they're registering their printer to me. Okay. Now we've got our extra year of warranty, so we now have a 2-year warranty. And by the way, I'm doing a live stream while I set this up, and one of my viewers said this is very much like one of the enterprise agreements you would have with a commercial piece of equipment like this, where you have a service and supply agreement, and that's kind of what you're getting into here, where you get a decent warranty, and then of course all of the toner and whatnot. So now we're being asked to enroll in Instant Ink, and we're going to talk more about this in the full review. And what it's asking me to do here is redeem for 6 months of free toner. And we're going to talk more about the math here and whether or not it makes sense to do this in the full review. For now, I'm going to skip this, but if you subscribe right here, what will happen is they will mail you new toner based on your usage, and you're going to have to pay a certain amount of money per month depending on the usage that you do. And again, we'll cover this in more detail later. So we're going to skip that, and we'll come back to it in a little bit. I've got some time to change my mind on that. All right, so now it wants me to load the paper, which I kind of already did. So we're going to do that. We did slide out the guides to get that 8.5 by 11 paper to fit in there. So we did that. And we loaded our paper in there, and I'll click Continue. So now I think what's going to happen here is it's probably going to print out something for us. And I did that part already also. And I did this part too. So we can pull that out. And we'll click Continue here. Let's print. All right, we're going to print out a first piece of paper out of this thing. And you can hear it whirring right now. And we've got our first page. Awesome. All right, so we've got that done. Feels like a nice warm piece of paper there. And we're going to click Continue now on the app. And now I can send links to my other devices so that I could easily set them up. I'm going to skip this though because I like to just go onto my computers and find the printer on the network, which I think is the best way to do it. So what we're going to do is skip this step right now. And we're going to run over to my Windows laptop now and connect to the printer and get it set up. Okay, My goodness. Yeah, by the way, laser printers are always pretty fast. You know, one thing I did not look at on this one was the speed of the printing mechanism. So let's look that up real quick. Actually, you know, and what I do love about laser printers is just how crisp the text is. Here, let me turn down the camera exposure a little bit. It's just, you know, you get this super sharp, isn't that nice? Granted, it's not color, but, you know, this kind of stuff like line art is so much better on a laser printer. It just really is. All right, so I think we're done with the phone here. I don't think there's anything else to do with that. Yeah, so we're going to cover the app in the video, in the full review. So now I'm going to close out all these extra things I set up here. And now we're going to get the, where's my little Windows laptop here? So I've got my Surface Laptop Go. I've got that going, so we're going to hook that one up real quick. And we'll get that part rolling here. And hopefully I got some charge in this one. I believe I've told you all how much I love this laptop. This is the Microsoft Surface Laptop Go. It's got a nice little i5 processor in it, so it's not like one of these fanless things, you know. It's like it's got decent performance. I replaced my Surface. Oh, I forgot to I forgot to look up the speed. I replaced my Surface tablet with this because I wanted something a little faster, and it's so lightweight. It's got, you know, okay battery life. It's not spectacular, but usually when I'm using it here, it's plugged in. But it's nice. It's got like the 12. It's a little bit larger than the 12-inch MacBook, which is my favorite laptop of the last decade. But it's metal. It's nicely well built. It's super light, and you know it's powerful enough to do a lot of the stuff that I do around here. So it's been very good. Okay. Chris Allegretta wants it, but needs more RAM. Yeah, that's the one problem with it, is that you can't do much with it. You need 16 gig of RAM to have a usable. Oh, we got to play with that still, don't we, Chris Allegretta? Maybe we should do a live stream together where you can show me cubes, because I've got plenty of computers with that can run it. All right, so where was I? Oh, the speed of the sorry, the speed of the printer. So this is the. They don't put it on the front of it. Oh yeah, there it is. The M234dwe. And we'll pull up the product info on it. So it will, oh wow, it is pretty fast. It does 30 pages per minute. And I'm guessing in its like default quality mode. So that's pretty quick. That's going to crank out. And it has auto duplex printing also, so you can print on two sides of a page. That's actually really fast. I mean, for 180 bucks, I think that's a good deal to get that speed out of it. All right. So what I'm going to do now is bring in. I'm loading up my desk with computers now. Don't you like the blue on this too? They have a couple different colors, but I thought the blue was a really nice color on this one. It's like a silvery metallic blue. It's a really nice finish. I'm telling you, if you want like a nice little Windows laptop, there's nothing better than this right now. And it's a touchscreen too. Nice IPS display. The resolution on the screen isn't all that great, but it's not bad. All right, so we're going to pull in the NDI from the computer. And grab that. And it supports Wi-Fi 6. So I'm able to do NDI over my Wi-Fi down here. I got that Ubiquiti thing. So, you know, as I move here, so I'm on the Wi-Fi. Here, I'll show you here. So I'm on Wi-Fi, NDI, and I'm able to push that. Oops. Able to push that. Let me move the window again here. Very little latency also. So it's not fidgety or anything. You're getting the full NDI out of this thing. So it's great. It's another reason to enjoy that. Okay. So let us go and find the printers. Printer. All right, hang on one second, folks. Yeah, I think it's going to just show up. Let's see. Add a printers and scanners. There we go. And it is not yet finding the printer. Maybe it's, okay, there it is. Okay. All right, so let's jump over to where we left off on the last clip, just to remind myself. And this is clip 7, part 6. Yeah, the setup process on this is a little bit extra. Hang on, I'm going to place part of this back real quick. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we logged into the HP account, and now we're getting the most out of our account. I kind of already did. Feels like a nice warm piece of paper there right now. And we're going to run over to my Windows laptop now and connect to the printer and get it set up. Okay, so we ended there. So I'm going to have it, so I'll kind of like reference the laptop here, and then we'll cut to the laptop display. I think that's how we'll do that. Okay. And then I'm going to jet after we get this part done, because I've got to go get some lunch and pick up the kids at school and all that good stuff. Kids get out at like 2-ish, but I don't have anything to eat up. Maybe I do have food to eat upstairs. I'll check. Okay. My cat food wants to know what the cost on these little laptops are. This one, let's see. Oh, I don't have it on my list here. I have to look and see where it is. These are generally well under $1,000. I think you can get into it with a decent configuration for like $600 or $700. So it's a little more expensive than, you could get one cheaper, but not this small and light. And that's always the trade-off. It's battery life, size, and performance. If you want, you can get a cheap one that's big and huge with lousy battery life, but super fast. But if you want, lightweight, good battery life, you got to pay more. That's just how it works. Okay. All right, give me 1 second here, folks. Just going through. Some stuff here. And yeah, you can run Linux on this too. It's actually kind of funny because when you boot up Ubuntu, you'll see the Ubuntu thing booting, and then it has the Windows logo on there when it boots up, because Ubuntu now will incorporate like your BIOS logo image or whatever. So yeah, it's kind of fun. It does run Linux pretty nicely, which is so weird, right? To run Linux on a Microsoft computer. But Microsoft's has become very they've become very friendly to open source, so it's good. But yeah, it's a very nice finish. You'll never fix this thing or repair it or take it apart. It is like hermetically sealed, so it kind of feels, to some degree, it's kind of like an Apple product in that regard. But it's a really nice, slick laptop. And you have 2 ways to power it. So you've got your full service. Unfortunately, it doesn't have Thunderbolt. That's like my only gripe against it. I would love, if this had Thunderbolt, it would be a win-win, because you could hook up your external GPU and have a really slick machine. So this is USB-C, but it's full service, so you can have power going in over here, or you can power it on the other side here with the proprietary Microsoft magnetic power adapter, which it does come with. And yeah, and I think Fu puts it best. They know how to make money. That's something they've always known how to do. And if it makes sense to be, almost this monopolistic enterprise, that was fine for the 90s, and now it's like, hey, embrace that open source. So it works well in both regards. Microsoft was pretty smart, actually, because remember, Microsoft bailed out Apple. They didn't have to. There would be no Mac anything. There'd be no iPhone had Microsoft not bailed out Apple. Send your complaint letters to, I know that gets people upset, but it's true. And actually, if you want to see a great video, go on YouTube and look for the announcement that Steve Jobs did with Bill Gates. And I don't know I think it was probably one of his biggest flubs when it came to the visual of a public event, because Steve Jobs on stage looked very tiny, and they had brought Bill Gates in over a satellite feed, so he was projected onto the screen. So you had this little Steve Jobs, and you had this big Bill Gates on screen, like looking like the Big Brother guy from the original Mac commercial. Maybe he did plan it out that way. I don't know, but the press thought the symbolic, or the just what it represented just didn't look right to people. So that's right, they did have that scene. That's by the way, if you want a really entertaining movie about the development of the computing industry, that is probably the best one. Out of all these movies about Steve Jobs and everybody else, that movie was spectacular. I loved it. Pirates of Silicon Valley. There was another one that kind of looked at the start of a lot of these internet startups that was on the National Geographic Channel that's pretty funny too. It kind of follows that same thing. Okay. So let's go pick it up from here. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we've got our Windows laptop out here. Our printer is happily on the network, and we're going to switch over to the Windows computer's screen now. And I'm just going to go down here to the search bar and search for printers, because we can very easily get to that system setting. And what I'm going to do is click on Add Printer. Now, because this printer is on the network, it will be discovered by anything that can support the printer. So we're just going to click on our MFP here, click on Add Device, and that should get us going here without too many issues. Now, there is an app for the Windows 10 systems that you can find on the Windows App Store. That's going to give you a lot of the same functionality you're going to get out of the mobile app on your phone. So if you like some of the features of the mobile app, you can get those on your computer. But like I said, I think the best way to get one of these printers going is just to go through the control panel here and connect up with it that way. That'll get all the drivers it needs installed, and you're good to go from there. So right now it looks like it's still trying to connect, so we're going to let this thing run its course. This might take a minute or two, and when it's done, we'll come back and see what's next. All right, there we go. Oops, let me pick it up here. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so now we've got the printer here discovered and on the network. And again, you can get the app here, but you don't need to do that. Let me pull up a document now and print out something and see how that works. All right, so that's done. So we got two takes in there. So we'll do 8, Windows Setup, Part 1. I'll probably do the Mac also, just for the heck of it. And 9. Windows Setup Part 2. And then we'll go and pick out a random document or something. Let me go print out some, let me go to Word and find some. I don't have Word on here. What am I talking about? What could I print out? You know what I'll do? I'm going to go to that lorem ipsum page on the internet, that lorem ipsum generator, and we'll just print out some text here. If you've ever seen this, it's like this thing where you can go and just print out some gibberish text. So give me 5 paragraphs. Boom, just like that. And I'll just print this out. Okay. So let's go Control P. That's right, I forgot that we're in this Chrome thing. Let me go, you know what, I'm going to pull this out of, I just want to get a simpler dialog up. So let's pull up, we'll pull up Microsoft Edge and just do it through that. All right, there we go. Okay. They put a lot of, I didn't have the ad blocker on this one, so you get all these ads running. So those are going to show up when we print, I think, aren't they? Maybe not. Yeah, we'll probably get the ads in there too. That'd be kind of fun. Oh, okay, good. Okay, there we go. So let's cancel that real quick. think what I'll do here is I'll start on camera 2, and then we'll click over. Oh, thank you, first of all, for Chanflay98 for your Super Chat contribution. And did I catch the show? Yes, I love that show. That was a really well-written show, too. It starts out, and it's all fiction, but it starts out in the 80s with these guys developing like an IBM PC clone. And it kind of like, it's a drama, but it kind of mirrors the stories involved in how a lot of the things that we use today got developed. It's a really good show. I think and what's nice about that show is that, so like my wife is into technology, but not to the extent, I mean, to be the extent that all of us watching me do a review of setting up a printer would be. Like, we're not normal people, okay? So I would never be able to get her to watch like some highly techie show, right? But what's nice about *Halt and Catch Fire* is that it kind of gives you that nostalgic look back at 80s and 90s technology. It starts in the 80s and then progresses to the 90s. And so you get like that hardware hacker kind of IBM clone maker period, and then they go into the internet world and they have a successful startup. And what's fun about the show is that it goes from the IBM PC clone hardware, then they move on to running like an online service using Commodores and stuff, really cool stuff. And then they go to the 90s, and so it's just great. It's such a good show. I loved it. So you should definitely watch that if you haven't seen it yet. I'm sure it's on like most of I think Netflix has it. But if you haven't seen it, just add it to your list right now. You will love it. If you're watching this and actually entertained by me setting up a printer, you will love *Halt and Catch Fire*. And the best part is, if you have a significant other that's not into technology, they're going to get something out of it too, because it's got a very well-written drama. Okay, let's finish this up. 3, 2, 1. All right, so now we can print out some text here. I've got just the Lorem Ipsum website here where you can generate some gibberish text. Test. I say test too often, which is why I said test and not test. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we've got now a web page that I want to print out. This is the Lorem Ipsum site at lipsum.com, and you can generate some gibberish text here. I'm going to hit Control-P to go and print, and I'll give you a better look at the screen here as that dialog is coming up. I'm using the new Microsoft Edge browser, and what we're going to do here is just select our HP printer, showing up on our list here, and I'm just going to click Print. And now the paper should come out. And here we go. What's nice about this printer is that it prints at 30 pages per minute. So if you've got a decent sized document to print out, you'll be able to get that going. So there you go. Pretty easy to get going with the Windows machines here. Let's take a look at my Mac now, and then we'll finish things up. And actually, you could probably do all the scanning. I think we'll cover all the scanning stuff in, maybe I'll mention that at the end. Part 4. And now we're going to go to the Mac. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so let's close the Windows machine out here, and we'll move on to the Mac. Look at this cute panda that's on my, I have like they have this Bing thing where it like updates your backgrounds, so I got a cute little panda now on there. Never know what you're going to see when you boot up your computer. It's so wonderful. They had this really nice winter scene at one point that I was seeing on my production machine here when I logged in. Okay, so we'll let that. The little Surface Book has an update. The one problem when I do one of these printer reviews, I end up with so much paper when I'm done. But I usually recycle the paper, so no harm, no foul there. Okay. So now I'm going to create another desktop on my Mac here just to keep things organized. And we're going to switch over to the Mac. And I can just add it with the printer and scanner function here. Okay. 3, 2, 1. All right, on the Mac, 3, 2, 1. All right, on the Mac, all you got to do is load up your system preferences and then go to Printers and Scanners. And as you can see, I've got one printer currently configured, but I can easily add another just by clicking on the plus icon here. And what that's going to do is go out on my network and find all of the printers that I haven't yet connected to. And here is our new HP, which is the HP MFP, M234dwe. And what I'm going to do here is just have it go with the default by Secure AirPrint. I'm going to click on Add. And just like the Windows computer, it's going to go out, connect to the printer. It's going to get its information. We'll probably see that icon change once it gets all of the things that it needs downloaded. And then we'll be able to print to it. So let's let this finish up here. There we go. And I'm going to load up a little test document now and print that out. This is becoming a little more, it's not difficult, but there's a lot of steps on this, partly due to the app and the things that you're required to give to them to get going. All right, so Mac Part 1. And there, all right, that's good there. Okay, so now I've got this Pages document that I like to use. This one's a little bit more involved because it's like, I usually print out this in color, obviously. But I think I'll just do page 2 here. So let me pick it up from here. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we're in Microsoft Pages now, and Microsoft Pages. What am I? Microsoft Pages. Good Lord. Oops. Let me start one more time. Sorry, everybody. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we're in Apple's Pages app, and I've got one of their templates loaded up here. And I just want to print out this page here. So I'm going to go to File and Print. And what I'm going to do is just say page 2 to page 2. And as you can see, it's giving me a black and white preview of the document. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do the 2-page print because I can. Let's try that. 3, 2, 1. All right, so now we're in Apple Pages, and this is a test document that I always like to try out on printers when I review them. Now, this document is in color. This printer, of course, is only in black and white, but it will convert from color to black and white before it prints out. I'm going to go to Print here. As you can see, we are detecting that we only have a black and white printer, and the preview here is in black and white. And this printer will do duplex printing, so I'm going to print on the front and the back. So I'm going to click that, and then I'm going to click Print. And let's see what we get here. So there we go. This might take a little bit longer to process because it is working with a lot of graphics, but as you can hear, the printer is spinning up, and we should be able to get that document out of here once it receives all of its data. You can see that white light indicating that we're getting a successful print. There's the first page, and there's the second one. Really fast, actually. And here you go. Looks pretty nice. And we're going to have a lot more on this printer in the full review that I'm doing coming up on my main channel. Now, one thing to note on this is that you do have a scanner. We didn't show you how to use that today, but the best way to use the scanner is through the HP app, either through the apps you can download on the computer or on the mobile side. It's pretty easy to get going with that. We'll demo that in the full review. And the scanner here is compatible with apps that are compatible with network scanners as well, so you should be able to get into that pretty easily. And we'll look at all the other features of this, including copying and some of the scanning features as well. So that's going to do it for now. Until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching. All right. So that is the conclusion. Not my best, but it'll work for the Extras channel. Okay. Let's take a look at that real quick. 3, 2, 1. All right, so now we're in Apple Pages, and this is a test document that I always like to try out on printers when I review them. Now, this document is in color. This printer, of course, is only in black and white, but it will convert from color to black and white before it prints out. I'm going to go to Print here. As you can see, we are detecting that we only have a black and white printer, and the preview here is in black and white. And this printer will do duplex printing, so I'm going to print on the front and the back. So I'm going to click that, and then I'm going to click Print. And let's see what we get here. So there we go. This might take a little bit longer to process because it is working with a lot of graphics, but as you can hear, the printer is spinning up, and we should be able to get that document out of here once it receives all of its data. You can see that white light indicating that we're getting a successful print. There's the first page, and there's the second one. Really fast, actually. And here you go. Looks pretty nice. And we're going to have a lot more on this printer in the full review that I'm doing coming up on my main channel. Now, one thing to note on this is that you do have a scanner. We didn't show you how to use that today, but the best way to use... Okay, I think I'm good with that. So there you go. Yeah, the quality's good. You know, what I was looking here as I was running that take was whether or not I could set it to a higher quality level. And it's not letting me do that. I can do normal or draft, but I can't go to best. Now, I was thinking maybe it was the paper, but it doesn't seem to let me go that high. This might require the driver, maybe. So I'm just using the Apple built-in one. So that I'm going to have to ask them about. There may not be a setting for that. I will check on the Windows side too and see if maybe that's something we can explore. But yeah, this thing's fast. I mean, I will say, I don't think I've seen a printer at this price range that prints that fast. It's 30 pages per minute, which is great. Hang on one second. All right. Yeah, so Mindless Mind here says, let's check out the preview. I've only got about 5 or 10 more minutes here. I got to go get some things wrapped up here. So let's take a look at the settings in the printer thing here. And then we got to run. I'm just looking through my Mac here right now. Let me just poke into there. Printers, 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 printers and scanners. So if we go over, let me show you my screen here. Options, these supply levels. There is a printer web page. So let's see if we can get onto that. Oh, hang on one second. The wife is calling me. Hang on. Okay, sorry everybody. Let me just go and check out that web page here. And they have a password on it. Oh, there's a password and it doesn't tell you what it is. So I can't get into the printer web page. I'll have to look into that. Let's see. Yeah, I don't have many settings here I could even adjust. Yeah, there's really nothing to adjust here. So let me check out the Windows side of things because maybe I could set up a... I mean, the print quality is real. I mean, it's nice. It looks super sharp. I mean, you get a little bit of fuzziness on... So like this headline here is a little bit fuzzy, but that's because it's color and it's kind of dithering. It's doing some dithering. But the straight up black text is just razor sharp, which is what you would expect out of a laser printer. But these photos don't look bad. I mean, there's not that much banding to it. Even these darker areas, it looks good. Yeah, it looks good. So I'm pleased with the quality. I'm pleased with the speed and the quality for the price. And that's going to be the story of this printer, I think, is the speed and quality for the price. That's it. So there you go. Jorge Martinez, yeah, sorry, I was on hold for a minute because I was getting phone calls. I got somebody is the guy that I call to fix everything in the house is here, so I was talking to him, and then my wife called. So it's what's his name on NBC? I always think of like these news anchors. Could you imagine like they're in the middle of their newscast, and you got big important news thing, and then all of a sudden like your wife calls, and you go like, hang on everybody, I gotta grab this call, right? But my wife calls, I pick up. Most of the time it's fine, but sometimes a kid is in peril and needs help. So I'm just going to go and print out a something here. Let's go to let's go like to a website and just print out something with pictures. Where do we go to print out pictures? We go to nasa.gov because there's usually something good we can get over there. Okay. All right, so on the Windows side, I'm going to switch to the system dialog. Here, let me pull up the laptop here so you can all see this. And we'll get the vMix going so you can all follow along here. NDI. I've ever told you all how much I love NDI. It makes my life so much easier because when I want this screen to be on my system, I just turn on this NDI. I got this little vMix app, vMix desktop capture, and boom, NDI. Just works over Wi-Fi. It's amazing. All right, so let's go to Preferences. Okay, so this has a little bit more guts to it, or more. No, look at that. It's just normal or econo mode. So there is not a high quality setting. Yeah. Print quality, normal or econo mode. So there's no high quality mode. However, it looks fine. It's super sharp. So there you go. So make a note of that. No high quality mode. Just normal or economy mode. And it's funny, if you've got that subscription, why would you even use economy? You don't want to, what I mean? It's like the rental car. Just use the premium. All right, there we go. Okay. Well, folks, I am going to go grab some grub, as they say, and then I got to go pick the kids up. And then I think when I get back, I'm going to shoot the review of this. I may just stay here for lunch. I'm just thinking about this because the other thing is I got to be here when the FedEx guy shows up with my my ATEM Mini Extreme, which I'm excited to see. So we got to deal with that also. But yeah, that's the printer. So we'll figure it out. I got a bunch of chats here that I missed. So Logic KGR says the first time he saw me doing so it trips people up when I do this. So I've been very mindful of that. So I've been trying to like pin chats to say what I'm doing. But yeah, you'll watch me do the live stream and then go from there. Chris has been relying. Yeah, the YouTube notifications for live streams are terrible. So, and partly because I don't schedule them, I just pop on and do that stream now thing. So that's part of the reason. But I found that the Amazon app is much more reliable for letting you know. And CHGADS, it prints nice and clean. Yeah, I think for the price, it's a great deal. So we'll figure it out. Chris says, don't leave. We need you. I'll be back. It's okay. We'll be back. We'll have more to go with this one. So yeah, we're going to actually, I think I'll be streaming quite a few things this week because I got a lot of fun stuff that's really fun to stream as I test it. So I got in It's not on Amazon yet, but I got the new Corsair green screen mouse pad. And I had never really thought of it before. But I was like, you know, it makes a lot of sense because when I have my overhead shot here, right? So I can put the mouse pad out on the desk, and then that camera up there, when it's shooting down, I can pull the item off the desk. So I can have it just floating in the air, basically. So that's how it's going to work. So we'll see how it goes. Sharat Simha says hello. Marie Farber says it's probably fast res 1200. I would say that's probably the case. I would agree with you. And that's probably what you're finding on the spec page that I haven't looked at yet. Let's take a look at the specs and see exactly what we've got here. So let me show you. Let me get rid of my messages here. Here are the official specs. So up to 30 pages per minute, and they used whatever ISO measurement thing there is. 7-second heat up time, 600 by 600, fast res 600, not 1200. That's what it is. So it's using the fast res 600. So I'll make a note of that. They're rating it at up to 20,000 pages of monthly duty cycle. I think if you're running that many pages per month, this is not the printer for you, but it could probably do that. Hang on one second, everybody. Okay, I got to run and settle up here real quick, but they're recommending 200 to 2,000 pages per month, which is what I would recommend on something like this. Here's the toner cartridges. Works with AirPrint, which is what we did before. And it does have USB, but I don't think the USB works on the HP Plus version. 64 megs of RAM. Back in the old days, that was a lot of RAM for a printer. So that's why that document came out pretty quick. It's got a lot of memory to process within. So there you go. All right. So that is it for now. Momophone says the Apple II GS brings back some memories. Yeah, we're going to have another live stream about that because we're going to replace the power supply in it. I'm going to snip the battery. That's like kind of a ticking time bomb in there too. So we'll have a few things to do on that in the near future as well. So lots of fun stuff to go from there. And we'll go from there. Sharat says I look like a cricket player named Chris Morris. I'll have to look him up. I do not play cricket. I'm the last guy that you would expect doing any kind of athletic activity, but I can walk now. I'm a pretty good walker. Oh, this is interesting. What are my thoughts on stuff like Chrome boxes that use Google API to run containers in the cloud rather than on NAS for things? So that's interesting. B. Renry, can you send me some information about that? I would love to explore that a little bit more because I'm beginning to really wrap my head around containers, and I would love to learn more about that. All right, everybody. I got a jet. I got to pay the guy upstairs and fixing all the stuff in my house, and I got to get some lunch, and I got to go pick up the kids. So we're going to leave it here, but I will be back again in the very near future, and you'll find me right here. If you would like to get notified whenever I do one of these streams, click the bell, or better yet, follow me on Amazon. I'm trying to build up my follower count. What am I up to now? I am up to, oh wow, I am at 1,999 followers. So if just one of you, and I will know who it is, if one of you goes in to Amazon right now and follows me, you will be the 2,000th follower. So if one of you pops up on there right now as a follower, I will bless you with the 2,000 follow thing. And maybe I'll do a thank you of that. So head on over there. I'll give it like 20 seconds before I got to run upstairs. Momophone says, how do I follow you? So if you're on the app watching me, I think if you hover over, oh, there we go. MDNY just did it. So MDNY, if you're in the YouTube chat, let me know who you are. And I will give you some acknowledgement of that. But on the Amazon app, I'm not sure how you're watching me. If you're watching me on the web, you have to mouse over the video window, and you'll see a follow button there. And if you are, there we go, Michael Jigenjin just followed as well. You'll see a button for follow that'll kind of light up. So now we're at 2,001 followers. Awesome. Yep, there we go. We're in. Well, thank you, everybody. That was awesome. So cool stuff. So thank you to everyone who just followed. And sorry, Michael is our hot sauce and video games friend, and Mary Farber is there now too. Excellent. So we have some new followers there. So cool. Let me make a note of somewhere where I can remember to bring this up again. So thank you all for that. Okay, I got a jet, but I will be back in the very near future. So be sure to keep following, and I will keep streaming. How's that sound? All right, we'll be back. We're going to have some fun stuff to do because we got that new A10 Mini coming in. I've got projects up the wazoo to do, so plenty of live streams coming up. All right, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. Oh, Hot Sauce and Video Games was 2001. MDNY is the actual 2000th follower. But I'll give you some credit anyhow. All right, everybody. I will talk to you in a little bit. See you soon. Bye-bye.